Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I would like to give my views tonight about independence of the President and how this will affect our voting decision on Saturday. To me, there are three tests of independence. Let me share them with you. First, the President's stake in the outcomes of government policies must be truly independent from that of the ruling party. Now, Mr. Tan Kin Lian has no interest at all in which party will be the next government and the government after that. On the other hand, Dr. Tan Bock has too many grassroots experience, too many links. His roots go very deep. Surely, he cannot be as independent as Mr. Tan Kin Lian. Now, as for Mr. Tan Jise, his destiny appears to be an opponent of the PAP, for better or for worse. Next, makes him and Dr. Tony Tan at two extreme ends of the table. Now, if Dr. Tony Tan is not independent, neither can Mr. Tan Jise. Complete opposites. Now, Dr. Tony Tan has spent many years in cabinet. That surely he must have many disciples and followers in the PAP and in the civil service. As their Shifu or Lao Da, their successes and their failures will likely reflect on him. So how can he be independent of the government and the civil service? Now for my second test. Will the President's thinking process be independent of the way the PAP looks at society and the economy? Or will it be another form of groupthink? Now, I have met a number of ministers in the course of my work at SBC and the Radio Corporation, RCS. Now, I can sense their great intelligence and the high personal values. I know they are very smart. Yes, I admit openly, they are smarter than me, even though I was a Colombo Plan scholar. But Mr. Lee Kuan Yew is such a towering and dominating influence that those around him will often be converted to his point of view. Now, to his credit, Dr. Tony Tan has managed to scrap the graduate mother policy because he was unhappy with the discrimination it caused. Now, let's think about this. In 22 years of serving the cabinet, he can only cite this case of opposing the government after 22 years. Let me give you another simple example. What about the discrimination against third child for school placement, for hospital fees, if you decided to have a third child, or your fourth child, or your fifth child? Why is Dr. Tony Tan silent on the discrimination against this group of mothers and the children? Now, don't you think that the fierce implementation of the Stop at 2 policy has contributed to our declining birth rate, causing the government to now open the floodgates to foreign talent? But nobody will admit the mistake of that policy. Now, let me say that Mr. Tan Jise is a fine scholar, good economist, and awesome debater. But given his young age and energy, I suggest that he can serve Singapore better by following the paths of J.B. Jeyaretnam, Chiam See Tong, Lau Tia Kiang, and Sylvia Lim to build a vibrant and robust parliamentary system. It is better for Singapore that the presidential office be occupied by a more mature, less strident, and independent thinking person like Mr. Tan Kin Lian. Now, Dr. Tan Bock, a fine doctor, is also getting on in years. We should admire his spirit for stepping forward to serve one more time. But he is already at an age when top leaders in other countries like China, where age is revered, are preparing to step down. But actually, come to think about it, this comment also applies to the other Dr. Tan. Now, thirdly, will the president have an interest in maintaining old policies, or will he be more open to changes? Dr. Tan, Tony Tan, was in the highest echelons of policy making. I believe after 22 years of service, he's too closely identified in the minds of many of us with a history of many policies and decisions. Now, he may even be tempted to think he knows more about certain issues than the present government leaders, and he'll be tempted to interfere. Now, is that good for renewal? Is that good for governance? Is that good for independence? Now, Lao Li and Lao Go, you know who I'm referring to, have already voluntarily stepped aside in May to give PM Lee Hsien Loong more room to move. Then along comes Dr. Tony Tan, our hero. Now, don't you think he should be more like the other ex-MPs, the ex-PAP MPs? They enjoy their retirement and they give advice when asked. That is a proper role for a senior leader. Now, fellow countrymen, I have spelled out clearly why Dr. Tony Tan is the least independent of the four candidates. The others are all independent to some degree or other. The good Dr. Tan Cheng Bock finally resigned from the PAP just a while ago when he found the public mood in the general election quite disturbing. Now, think about it. If the mood was sweet, Dr. Tan Cheng Bock would not have thought of standing for the elected presidency post, right? Now, Mr. Tan Ji say, I must agree, is truly independent of the PAP. Yes. But is he independent of the opposition? No. It does not look that way, right? Now, so having him in the Istana may have some damaging consequences for our governance. Now, he's a nice man, and I know him personally, but is his type of independence for this position necessary, productive, or useful? Now, I leave those thoughts with you, ladies and gentlemen. I rest my case. Vote for a truly independent president, Mr. Tan Kin Lian. High five.